Jennifer, Susan, first, here, let me go ahead again one more time. So my guest today is Jennifer Etter and Susan. Susan, how do you say your last name?
Mobley.
Susan Mobley. They are the host and co-host of Find Her Seat. We appreciate you coming to the show. Thank you so much for joining me. Thanks for making the drive. And thanks for being on Make Shit Happen show. Make shit happen! You like that?
That's awesome. I love that.
So let's talk about it. First of all, thanks for connecting me.
Yes.
And thanks for connecting with me. I'm sorry.
Absolutely.
And I saw your thing, like your podcast, Find Her Seat on LinkedIn. I'm like, wow, this is great. So I started looking at it. I'm like, empowering women, and I mean, I really love that. I love finding the women's seat on on the right table, on the right, bring her to the right platform, and I love it. I have 2 daughters. So, I want to live in that world where women can have a voice.
Right.
They're not oppressed, or they don't need a man to, do something for them. I mean, it's very important for me personally.
Yes.
So that's why when I saw Find Her Seat, I looked at it and I'm like, this is great. We
agree.
Part of it too is not only women finding their seat, because we're evolving as a society, and so many women, they don't realize that they've already found their seat. So we say, like, the stay-at-home mom is not just the stay-at-home mom. You found your seat at your table.
Exactly.
And to just be empowered wherever you are.
I had a guest on a previous show, and she said it almost exactly like that. She's like, mom is not just stay-at-home mom. She's raising and nurturing that kid that can turn around and be the next president.
That's right.
Absolutely. Or she can raise a kid who can be a person that is not desired in the society. It's all about how the mom raises that kid. So it is her seat. It's her job to raise that man that can be the next president, or the next senator, or the next ball player, or the next businessman, or the next podcast host. Like, make shit happen.
That's right. That's right. We don't want women to feel like, when they say just a stay-at-home mom, like they can't be anything but stay-at-home mom. Like, we want them to realize that you can do multiple things. You can be stay-at-home mom. You can be the podcaster. You can, run a corporation. You can do all of these things. You don't have to pick and choose. You really can do everything. And although you might, have to balance it out.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
not like you're limited at any point. And we're trying to show, not just women, but our own children, that you really can do anything that you want to do, and don't limit yourself just because you have this idea of what your role is supposed to be in life. I mean, I've reinvented myself so many times. I've, been a real estate broker. I've run companies. I've done network marketing. I've done the stay-at-home mom. Yes. And, there's no reason that just because that's what I did at that moment, that's what I'm going to have to do forever.
So how many kids do you have, Susan?
I have 2. So I have a son who's 14 and then a daughter who's 11.
And what about you, Jennifer?
I have 2 girls, a 15-year-old and a 9-year-old.
Okay. Well, your kids are close in age.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So did y'all meet through your kids? Did y'all?
No. Literally, it was business. We were with a company, and we were on the same team, and we were the only ones that were consistently showing up. And so I noticed this tall woman showing up as well. So we know, okay, we had the same work ethic, but we weren't necessarily friends. And I decided to join a different company, and she, being the businesswoman, heard about it, wanted to hear more about the pay plan, decided to join me. And then they kept putting us together.
Really? So you have this show, Find Her Seat podcast, that you broadcast live every Tuesday?
Yes, so every
on
Tuesday,
Facebook.
and now we've added Thursday because we actually were getting so backed up on guests that we had to add in a second day of the week to have the show. So that's a good problem to have.
Congratulations. How long is the show for?
So the actual duration is usually about 30 minutes for the show.
Okay.
And so we do that on, like I said, on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We do the live on Facebook, and then we put the feed out for the podcasts from our live shows.
Okay. So, and the podcast is available on all platforms, I'm assuming?
Yes, you literally Google Find Her Seat, and you can find us anywhere. Spotify, iTunes, iHeart.
You name it, we're out there.
So how did you, first of all, how did you come up with the name Find Her Seat?
So when we would run our meetings, it was one of the things that I would say a lot, because that was what I found when I started to create a better income for myself. I mean, I'm married, but I wanted to be a little bit more equal. And so when I started to create an income, I literally felt like I had found my seat. I had a say at whatever we did financially. And so that's what it was part of my spiel was, you know, helping other women find their seat at the table. And it just stuck because it really, it had a lot of meaning.
It resonated with people. I mean, even from when we would do meetings with our network marketing company, then people would hear that and you could just kind of see like they'd perk up like, oh yeah, I want to find my seat too. And so we went through a list of probably 5 or 10 names and we just kept coming back to find her seat. And we're like,
I love the name. It's perfect.
It was
is
everything
perfect.
that we wanted. I mean, it encompassed everything. It was easy and
So
quick.
so both of you agreed on the name then.
We
Oh
did.
yeah.
So now how did you think about like, okay, you know what, I want to do a podcast?
So literally that happened. I think that was just like, you know, God wink. We got together, had a meeting. We knew we wanted to do a show. You know, there's something amazing about Susan. There's no like, I don't know. It's so crazy. Susan will come up with an idea and she's like, I'm going to get a hold of this network and I'm going to get a hold of that radio station. I'm like, okie dokie. And so she was going to reach out to Bravo. We didn't know what it was going to actually look like. We just knew it was going to be female empowerment. And literally within 5 days, 2 different people said to me, hey, have you ever thought about doing a podcast? And I literally had never heard of it. I had never listened to a podcast. And so when the second person said it within 5 days, I was like, okay, I'm listening.
That's a sign.
Yeah, I'm listening. And he just so happened his good friend was starting a 8-week course. And so I signed us up. I got a hold of Susan and said, guess what? This is what we're doing.
Yeah, she called me up and was like, by the way, we're doing an 8-week podcast course. I'm like, oh, okay, let's do that.
So that's awesome. So now y'all both are an expert on podcasts.
Oh, well, you know.
We're trying.
So when did you officially launch the podcast channel?
In April.
In April of 2019.
Yes.
Perfect.
So a lot of people sometimes are a little surprised that we've only been doing it since April, because, you know, in the beginning, it's a lot of, you know, begging or asking people that we know that are doing things to be guests on our show.
Be on the guest.
But really after about a month or so, we started getting a lot of referrals from other people that heard what we were doing and they would have a friend of a friend that they thought would be a great fit for the show. And then through LinkedIn, through social media, we would have different people reaching out to us. And so it started to get to the point where we really were starting to have people, you know, get on a wait list to be on the show.
Actually, I think it was only like, we were only doing it about a month when CW got a hold of us and asked us to be on their morning show.
Okay.
And I think after that, people kind of took us a little bit more seriously.
So tell me about the CW morning show.
So they've got over at CW 39 in Houston, they've got the Morning Dose.
Right,
So it's their
right,
morning show.
right.
And so again, they found us through LinkedIn and reached out to us and they wanted to talk
So both of you were guests on that thing?
So we're on there talking about women that had started a podcast.
Okay.
And it was exciting. I mean, I think even for us, it kind of legitimized what we were doing.
So now you're doing it twice a week.
Yes.
The show lasts for 30 to 40 minutes.
Right.
Yes. Approximately.
Approximately. Well, that's awesome. Now tell me, Bravo, is Bravo still on the table?
Oh, yeah. Everything's on the table.
Everything's on the
Everything's
table.
So
We've
the
got
ultimate
a big table.
So the ultimate goal is to be on have a TV show.
You know what? Actually, I mean, the ultimate goal could be the TV show, but I've told Susan many times that I envision us having our own network. Like that, like we're big thinkers.
So right now you sign. Hey, listen, if you don't think big or you don't dream big, you
Who's
never
gonna
get
think
big,
for
right?
us, right?
Yeah, and you never get big.
That's
No.
right.
You know, so you gotta shoot for the sky, and I mean, see where you land at.
But we definitely would be, you know, I think TV is something that we both feel comfortable with. And then, you know, like Jennifer said, we didn't start out as friends, but we've become
Right.
really close friends.
There's so many similarities. It's crazy.
It is. And it's like we complement each other so well. I mean, the things that I lack, she doesn't, and vice versa. We travel well together. I mean,
We like the same foods.
Yes.
Where have y'all traveled at?
Oh, goodness.
gosh. New York,
Las Vegas, Bahamas, Bermuda,
A
Dallas.
lot of girls trip or family trips?
Business trips?
business trips.
Business trips.
All business. So either we've earned the trips through our company or we've had to take them for meetings and that type of thing. And it just usually ends up that we end up traveling together. We split meals everywhere we go.
That's awesome.
We end up showing up. We're always, even today, she
Yeah.
opens up the door and we're like coordinating.
We
it just,
literally laugh every single time because I open the door and we're like, of course, we're
so
coordinated.
it's just we definitely have this connection that we, it feeds, and I think it comes across when we do the lives. So I think for us, it's easy to think of doing a show.
And I think y'all are very fortunate to find that connection because
yeah.
not a lot of people ever find it or have somebody in
Right.
common. So you know what? Congratulations
Thank
for
you.
that. So let's talk about that. Jennifer, you've written a book before.
I did. I wrote this book. It's called Crave by J.B. Etter, and it literally started off with dreams. So if you read the book, there's a lot of dreams in that book, and those are literally dreams that I was having. So you might be scared, but every
Like
night,
give us an example of a dream. That's in the
goodness.
book.
That's in the book.
Yeah.
Let's see. So Claire is the name of the main character, and she finds herself underneath a street lamp, and she's cold and realizes that she's naked. And so she starts walking and finds her way to there's a brick wall, and she's trying to keep herself warm. And then the man of her dreams, which is the man that keeps showing up in her dreams, shows up, and they're, getting hot and heavy. And the next thing she knows, he's turned into 1,000 snakes.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's
It's the
Thousand
deep
snakes.
It's the deep thinking of Jennifer.
wow. So what do we call this book classifies what kind of genre?
It's a fantasy romance.
Fantasy romance. Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Have you ever written a book, Susan?
I have not yet,
Okay.
but
Is
Jennifer
book in the future?
book is definitely in the future. Jennifer and I have actually wanted to collaborate
Oh,
and do
awesome.
some kind of, based sort of what we're doing through Find Her Seat, being able to give, either through journaling. We're big on, manifesting and, putting down your thoughts and putting it out there in a way that, synchronized, that we're going to help people do that through journaling, as well as just some of what we've done, through Find Her Seat and showing women different stories of people that we've had on our show and what they've done through their empowerment.
So both of you are going to collaborate on this book.
Mm-hmm.
And is it like you said, there's I think we were talking about a book earlier, like Subtle Art of Not Giving a
Right.
Right.
So it has different chapters,
Mm-hmm.
totally different, unrelated stuff, and they put it all together in a book. Is it going to be something like that context?
So it is going to be something like that, where we're giving suggestions, prompts for writing, and then we're also going to have some storytelling. So it's either going to be people that have been on our show that, one of them will be what letter would you write to your 14-year-old self?
Gotcha.
What do you need to tell yourself? Just basically different things like that. And I think it's going to be great.
I think so too. I love it. And whenever you do it, please let me know so I can go buy a
course.
copy.
Heck yeah.
Of course. Give it to your daughters.
Definitely. So let's talk about some of your early life. Let's start with you, Jennifer.
Okay. So early life, raised by a single mom. I was in a lot of things. I was in theater and dancing and singing and all of it. And, to be honest, I moved out when I was 16 and started a life of my own. Lived on a sailboat. I was out to, basically, I had this idea that I needed to experience as much as I could because I knew one day I was going to write something. And so I needed some experience. And so I had a, when you're out that young, you stumble a lot.
Is that scary?
Not for me, but I'm a different kind of person, I guess. I don't have a whole lot of fear, but it was dark at times, and I definitely experienced a lot. I wouldn't want my daughters to do it, but I came out really strong.
You would want to shelter them.
I do shelter them. It's horrible. I think to myself, oh, I'm cutting their wings off, but they are both very strong, intelligent girls.
Girls,
So
yes. Raising girls is hard.
it's different.
Yeah.
Both my girls are different. So I've got one who's very dramatic and ethereal and, all of those things. And then I've got another one and she's GT and all those things. And then the other one, she's more earthy. She's definitely my girl. We think a lot alike. And she's dyslexic. So they each have their own struggles and completely different personalities.
What about you?
So I'm a native Houstonian, and I was born and raised here. And my parents, I had the baby of 4, and I grew up here. And then I went to UT For me, my dad's a physician and my mom ended up going to law school when I was in junior high. So education was key in our family. You could do anything you wanted to do, but you better graduate from college. So I went to UT and then I actually got scouted and did modeling professionally for a little bit on the agreement that I would go back and finish college. So I did that, came back, finished college here. And then my degree's in education, but I never actually taught outside of the training that I had in college.
Okay.
I think for me, I just always have had an entrepreneurial spirit, and my parents definitely fostered that side of it as, so for me, it was a natural progression to go and get my real estate broker's license. My husband at the time, we started an online apartment locating business. We had been in the domain industry as well. So for me, it was definitely about always having different businesses going on at any given time. The technical side of it was always fun for me as well. So for Jennifer and I, we were a good match because she wasn't as techie as I was. And so we would coordinate that. But, I think it was important that my parents fostered all of that. And I'm definitely doing that with my kids as well. My son's very entrepreneurial. My daughter, she's wanting to have YouTube channels and things like that when she sees our show on YouTube. Her little friends all watch our podcast and ask each week, like, what's the show about this week? So I think it's, even though that Jennifer and I may have come up differently, there's things that overlap that are so similar. And again, it's like, areas that I may have not understood, I've been able to see through Jennifer's eyes and vice versa. And I think it's like, there's things that I take away from her life experiences that I'm, so proud of her and everything that she's done. She could have gone through the life that she went through and not made herself the way she has.
Definitely.
And so I think that, getting to be able to both be native Houstonians, we understand that we're rare to find a native Houstonian, let alone be together. I always kind of laugh like our birthdays are just a few days apart.
So Jennifer, are you Houston raised?
I am.
So
Yes.
you're a native Houstonian
I am.
also?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and we
From
grew-
A-Leaf.
Yeah, so
me too.
Yeah.
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 Oh, we'll have to talk about that.
So,
I went to Hastings.
I did too.
Yeah?
Hastings South.
Me too. Hastings.
What year did you graduate?
I graduated. Let's talk. Let's talk about that. And then, so you finished school at U of H? Or you said you came
Yes,
here?
so
and
I went
finished
to UT and then I came and finished at U of H, actually Clear Lake,
school? Okay.
and finished out there. And then, but I never actually taught outside of having to do my student teaching and that type of thing. But I think for me, it was just like I needed to always grow beyond what someone confined me to.
Awesome.
So through doing my own real estate business or whatever it might have been, even through network marketing, you control if your team's, going to be of 5 people or 5,000 people
Okay.
based on the work that you put into it. And same with our podcast, we could just do it once a month and just kind of halfway do it. But,
We're not
we don't
those
do
kind
that.
of girls.
Yeah. And then, so I'm assuming you grew up in Clear Lake.
No, funny thing is I lived in Katy when I went to U of H,
Oh,
Clear
you
Lake.
went to
Talk
Clear Lake.
about dedication to finishing my degree
Wow.
is driving to Clear Lake from Katy. So I grew up in Memorial.
Okay.
And then when I got married in 99, I moved out to Katy.
Katie, got it. So you had this apartment deal, the apartment finder, and so you don't have it no more. You
No.
don't practice.
No,
real
so
estate
I
anymore.
don't do any of my real estate anymore. I keep my license just to have it.
Okay.
But
So tell me
no.
some of the new adventures y'all are having. I mean,
So
you said
many.
you have the same company. Are y'all in?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Valentis is the name of the company that we're in. It's really amazing company. It's only 5 years old.
Mhm.
It's in 95 countries, but it's just now coming into the United States. It's health and wellness, which is right up our alley. I mean, I was a yoga instructor. She's always been, into diet and health. And we're new to it, but we're not new to network marketing. And
Okay.
so it's been really exciting, actually.
So
Yeah,
you are a yoga instructor also.
I am a certified yoga
How
instructor.
come you didn't tell us that?
Well, I mean, how many things do you want to know?
We wear many hats,
Yeah, I see that. So tell me about this yoga. Like you being a yoga instructor.
Yeah.
How did that? I mean, when did you get certified? And
Sir, I worked at the Houston City Club.
Okay.
I was in membership, and I was an avid runner. I would run the 3 to 6 miles a day, Memorial, all of that. My back went out, and I couldn't run anymore. Got really depressed. and they had yoga classes going on during my lunch break. So I decided to go ahead and start it. Within 2 weeks, my back felt better, and I decided this is something I want to pursue. And I loved what it did for me psychologically and emotionally, because I always say yoga were my first steps of healing. Like that was where my life started turning around. And so it was within a few months I decided to get certified. I had a actually very lengthy certification. I know some people go for like a weekend. Mine was months long. And became a yoga instructor, and then I guess within a year decided I was going to do it full time, and that's what I was doing when I met my husband.
And the reason why I asked yoga is like I've been thinking about doing yoga, and I run a lot. So like I run 4 or 5 times a week.
Yeah.
Sometimes 3 miles, sometimes 6 miles.
Yeah.
But lately, like I feel like my back does hurt.
Right.
Yes.
I have to stretch longer.
Yoga helps. I think had I been doing the yoga while I was running, maybe things wouldn't have gone off. But I'm like I have a little old lady back, so I'm not so sure about that.
So I think that's one thing. I mean, you've probably seen me move in this chair a couple of times already, and like so that's something I've been thinking about. Like maybe I need to do yoga or something, Pilates or something like that. I love running. It just I don't know. It's something about running. Just when I'm running for that 40 minutes or 1 hour is just like nothing else exists. You know, just the road.
I miss it. We talk about it
Jennifer
a lot.
and I were just talking about last week because I've had 2 spinal fusion surgeries. So there's no running in my life anymore. And I used to run every single day. We're both saying it's so nice, when you go on vacation or something, like all you need is your tennis shoes and you can go and explore the area you're in and run.
I can't believe you said that. So everywhere I go, any new city or anywhere I go, I just go run.
Yes.
And I'll just like this last year, went to Scottsdale, ran 6 miles over there, just walk,
Right.
Did the San Diego thing.
Yep.
Went to Panama and Panama, the country, did the same thing. I went to Colombia last year, did the same thing over there. Where else have I gone? Several other places, but that's what I do. And I mean, I just feel like I feel connected,
Exactly.
and it's just so cool. I mean, I don't have to walk. I'm running, so I'm seeing everything, and I run in the morning, so
Right.
the air is fresh. It's just so much
Not too
nicer,
hot.
not too hot.
I love that you said you felt connected by running, because when we travel, there's, other people will take the buses and do all the things. And we like to have our feet on the ground because we feel more connected to the city we're in. I love that.
Yeah. And so that's something we have in common.
Yes.
Another thing we have in common.
Yeah. But my back has not gone out yet. Knock on
You
wood.
may not be as old.
So, I know, Jennifer, also I read about you. Carlos did some research over here for you.
Some intel.
He said that you were affected by heart disease.
I do. I have, it's basically, it's what's called PVCs. It's premature ventricular contractions. So I literally have my own little rhythm. So where everybody else's heart may say lub dub, mine's like lub dub dub dub.
Okay.
Dub dub.
So it's still you still have that condition.
Yes. Yeah. And I don't think it's ever going to go away. I mean, when I first noticed it, my second daughter was a baby and we were on vacation, and it can be a little scary because it feels like your heart is flip-flopping in your chest and then you don't feel anything.
Really?
And that's literally what happens. So my blood pressure is low because my heart doesn't necessarily beat at a regular beat. So when it does do that skip or when it does do the flop around, my blood pressure drops. Wow. And so I drove myself to the ER and thinking, they're just going to hook me up. But I got to admit it, I didn't realize it was that big a deal. And so that's when they told me I have PVCs.
So now have y'all both traveled somewhere and like her blood pressure goes down or something? Have you?
No, knock on wood for that too.
No, okay.
She stayed healthy, but it's been kind of, eye-opening because with her heart problems, it gave us an opportunity with the American Heart Association.
So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we are actually both members of the Guild Committee for the American Heart Association, and then we're also on the committee for the Shop with a Heart card. So it's a shopping card that they do every year to help raise money. But it was, I know that Jennifer and I, we went to a meeting at Tootsie's, and there was a young lady there, and I say young because she was early 30s.
No, I think she was in her 20s. She was like 26.
Yeah, and she had
mid-20s.
Yes, and she had just left the hospital maybe a week prior to this event, and having suffered from, I don't know if it was a massive heart attack.
It was a heart attack.
It was something like catastrophic.
At 26?
Yes.
At 26.
Yes.
Overweight?
No, not really.
No,
I mean,
nothing. It wasn't all the normal things that you think would be, you know, someone that should be having that type of issue at that age. So I think for me, it definitely opened up my eyes to, you know, and you don't realize how much women suffer from heart attacks because men get spotlighted.
Exactly. I read this heart attack thing, and I mean, you know, it hits home to me because my father passed away from a heart attack.
Right.
So I mean, you know, when I saw that, I'm like, I got to ask you that question about that.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you do that heart ball every year?
Yes. And
It's in February, right?
yes,
Yeah.
big
I think
deal.
it's right around Valentine's Day. Or something.
that's right.
I want to say that it is, is it February 13th this
Yeah,
year?
I think it's right by,
Yeah.
it's heart ball. So right, Valentine's. I've
Yes.
donated a couple of times. They send me email all the time, like,
Well, now you've got members here that you can
okay.
You should become a sponsor.
exactly.
Yeah, I've sponsored. I think it was 2012 or 2013, or 2013 and 2014. I don't remember.
Yeah. So
It was 2 years consecutive.
yeah.
that I
So
did.
we're on part of the committee that helps get sponsors and
Awesome.
goes around for, like I said, the shop with a heart card.
Well, now that I said something, I'm
You're on
sure
the
y'all gonna be in touch with me. I volunteered myself. I sound like it, huh? So you do the Heart Ball Foundation. I mean, the
Heart
gala,
Association.
yeah.
Yes.
And so that's awesome. So tell me, also, Jennifer, you're a therapist.
Yes, I'm what you call a biofield therapist.
Okay.
And yoga led me to that. And so basically what I do is I look for patterns in somebody's life, and I can take those patterns, name what that pattern is, and something that somebody can gain when they're a child. So like even if you're a baby and you're crying and crying and crying because you're hungry and nobody feeds you, well, that literally creates a pattern of I'm not worthy, you know, of food. I'm not worthy of nutrients, and that will begin to evolve. And as you become an adult, you'll have all these things that kind of are roadblocks, and you don't know why you keep hitting these roadblocks, but it's literally an old pattern. And so I find those patterns, turn them around, and create new ones.
So here, let me ask you a question now. Let's put her to a test. What do you
Go
think?
ahead, let me do the test.
So, and you know, I'm in furniture retail business. I've been on retail floor. I've been salesman, all this stuff. So I see, I see a lot of things. I'm a student. I watch behaviors and stuff.
Right.
So what about parents? And I mean, it's not only my store. I've seen them around. You go to restaurants, stuff like that. What about when parents empower their kids, or they think they're doing them a favor? Let's say a 2-year-old kid, right? Baby don't know anything.
Right.
Okay. And they want a toy, okay, or they want to pick up anything, and the mom says no, and the baby screams, and the mom gives it to them.
Okay.
What happened? What kind of pattern are we developing?
So right there, literally though, if you're looking at a 2-year-old, so you have to understand at that age, especially 2.
2 or 3, let's just say.
Yeah, still at that age, they're literally going from one stage to the next. So they're going from a stage where maybe things look magical into a stage of learning rules and guidelines. And this is society. And we use a fork when we eat, and we use a spoon, and we don't do this, and we don't throw. So that is a very tough age, because they're going from freedom to having to be forced into societal roles. And so all their imaginary friends go away. All these other ways of being go away. So it's very frustrating for a 2-year-old. So they're learning new boundaries, and they're also pushing against boundaries. They also can't really understand what to do with these emotions that they're feeling. So it might feel like rejection, or it might feel like who knows what, right? They're taking this away from me. They're taking power away from me, and it's very frustrating. And so it's the pattern, giving a child boundaries, that's good. They need strong boundaries. There's nothing wrong with that. If the mother were to always let them have it, then yeah, that's not creating good boundaries.
That's not okay. So if the baby screams and the mother just gives it to them, is the mother doing the baby a favor or not a favor?
No, the
No.
mother is not doing the baby.
What do
a
you think about
favor.
that, Susan?
I'd say no.
No.
Biofield therapist or not, no.
Right.
So what about I've seen moms where, same thing, little children, I mean, and they get frustrated, and sometimes the babies like start hitting
Right.
and the moms don't say nothing. What about that?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think
Because
you're
they're
seeing them
out in there, and
public.
they're
Yeah.
in
You're-
public,
yeah.
and they also embarrassed and they can't really do anything because nowadays we got these camera phones
Yes.
and they don't want to go to jail.
I know. Well, I always let my girls know that, I may not respond in the way that is going to be big when we're in public, but I promise you, when we get home, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
I think it's important to, like Jennifer said, you've got to give those boundaries no matter, what age they're at. If not, you're going to get run over by them.
So
And
Susan, you have 2 kids.
I do.
Do you believe in punishing the kids?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, of course, my children
Now,
are perfect.
when I say punishing the kids, I mean spanking them.
I was never a spanker. I wasn't. I think one thing is every parent knows their child and they know what they respond to. For me, my kids were big responders to taking things away. And then, certain things that work with my son wouldn't work with my daughter and vice versa. So I think it really depends on your child. Certain kids are going to maybe respond to a spanking that another child wouldn't. For me, my kids were big on take things away. Or like my daughter, if I would tell her that hurt my heart, then that would really
The
get
guilty.
her.
What about you, Jennifer?
Well, my first daughter, everybody thought I was this magical mom, and I did too. I also thought it was magical because she was just so easy, and so all I had to do was just do this.
Look at her.
And
By the way,
I was doing the counting.
Yeah.
And so all I had to get to was
you're
the
looking
one.
at me and doing the counting. I'm
Are
scared.
you scared?
See, it works.
Yeah, I just have to give him the look.
So-
but not the second one. The second one's my wild child, and it sometimes comes to pops on the butt.
So me and my wife had kids. We had kids at an early age. We weren't ready. I mean, we were really young,
Right.
right? And we had a baby, and then we had twins right after that. And then she had 3 kids. Well, I'm saying she because
Right.
I was working, she was taking care of them,
Right.
right? And but one thing is like my mom beat us when we were little. I mean, she
No
did.
way to sugarcoat it.
And I mean, no way to sugarcoat it. My mom used to beat me,
Yeah.
and I love my mom. I still love her for that.
Right.
Okay, and I tell this to everybody. Like, I'm not embarrassed. My mom beat me. I mean,
Right.
she didn't beat my other brother and sister, but I think I was the worst one. So she beat the crap out of me all the time.
You provoked her.
I guess I provoked her, and she was. I mean, because maybe my mom. There's a difference, an age difference, 4-year age difference. I think when my mom had me, I think she was 24 or 23. And, so by the time my brother was born, she was 27.
Right.
And he was baby and I was just a bad
Oh.
kid. So,
But look at you now.
but I always believed this counting thing, right? Because my mom used to count to us. And it didn't make any difference. And then she beat the shit out of me.
My mom counted, and so I learned from her, but she also kept a wooden spoon in her purse.
Yeah.
And so you knew if you got to, well, she went to number 5. I only went to 3. But you knew if you kept going, you were going to go to the bathroom with that wooden spoon, no
And-
matter where you were.
Same thing. So I'm like, I counted, and my kids always knew the counting thing. And my kids, so when my daughters, they were 14, one day, I don't know what they did. And I'm like, I can't hit them anymore because they're 14 years old,
Right.
And I was so mad. Okay. So when I got home, I put them both in a corner with, holding their ear. And they're like, and then so turned around, they said something. I'm like, I tell you what, I'm done with this shit.
Right.
I'm like, you want to talk to me? And they talk. I'm like, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to put you both in the corner. And now you're going to hold your ear, but you're going to squat. And I promise you, that was the worst punishment. So
Yeah.
they're like, Dad, we can't do it no more. We can't do it. I'm like, okay, no problem. I get on the floor, do planks.
I love it.
I didn't hit them,
No, I love
but
it.
they both were
They were
shaking.
hurting a lot more.
Oh, they were hurting. And then so I kept rotating the planks with the squat, And my wife was like, I can't believe you're doing that. And I'm like, go in your room.
Yeah.
I'm not touching them
Right.
at all. So
They're
Actually,
making
you're
themselves
making 'em-
miserable.
well, you know what? You're helping them. I mean, you're
Yeah.
making them stronger.
I'm making them stronger.
You may regret it later.
And I mean, but I think, I mean, as parents, you got to set boundaries.
Absolutely.
You got to tell them that, hey, and taking away things is a big thing. That's what we do in our family. I mean, hey, you know what? You're gonna do this. I'm gonna take your phone away,
Right.
take your computer away, take your iPad away. But when a kid, kid is going to be a kid. I don't care if the kid is 10 years old,
Right.
12 years old, 3 years old.
Right.
Okay. They don't know any better.
No, that frontal lobe hasn't actually grown and developed. So
The kids will push the boundary as long as you let them push the boundary.
husbands will push your boundary.
Of course. Please, I don't want to ever.
Maybe that's
don't
why
meet my
I'm
wife
divorced.
ever. Don't ever meet my wife. She's going to tell you all about it. So, Susan, so tell me, what is your new venture, since you said that you've always been an entrepreneur?
Right. So, we had been in network marketing together in a previous company. And then because that company kept putting us together and it kind of helped us create Find Her Seat with our podcast, it also made us develop our company brand of Find Her Seat. And we're like, you know what? We're going to take this umbrella of Find Her Seat and implement many companies under it. So the first one was our podcast and live show. Now, since we've joined Valentis, but we have joined not as Susan and Jennifer, but we've joined as Find Her Seat. So our team is our company name. And so, definitely we've got, books in the work. We've got shows that we want to do, be on, have our own show. The sky's the limit as far as what we're going to do, but we've branded this umbrella Find Her Seat, and we plan to have many legs coming from under it with many companies going on, because I am not happy unless I'm diversified and I've got my hands in a bunch of different things.
Same.
Yeah. So, it's neither of us are ever satisfied. We're definitely happy with the way things are going and things that are happening, but we're never content.
We see
always
that.
want more.
I see you both are movers and shakers. And, y'all have such, y'all play a busy role. I mean, you have the podcast going, full-time moms, because your kids are still, young.
Yes.
Got the Valentis going. How do y'all manage all this?
That's a good question.
Let's go with you first, Susan.
I think
How do you manage it? That's what I want to know.
I think alarms on my phone is a big thing, because I always joke, and it's not really a joke, but I would not remember to pick up my kids from school if there was an alarm set on my phone, because I get so busy doing something and then the time goes by. So I've got alarms that keep me on point. The other thing is Jennifer and I actually linked our calendars. So we have our personal calendars linked as well as our company calendar linked. But that helps us so that we don't overbook each other. That we know when we're, if she has something to do with her kids, I know that's going on. I don't book something for that time and vice versa. So I think it's the balance and the respect of each other's time. We both, appreciate time with our family and our children. And so we know that sometimes she might be having a tough day, or, she's tired or something, and I'm there to pick up the slack for her, and vice versa. If I'm going through something, she's there to, pick it up for me and lift me up through it. So I think there's a lot of respect that goes on between the two of us that helps that part of it balance out. A lot of it is just, you only get one life that we know about to live. And I say, I'm 43 now, and I feel like I'm just starting to live my best life. It's just starting to blossom. And so if I want to sit back and watch other people do amazing things, then I can do that, but that's not me. So if it means that I'm going to have to stay up late some nights, wake up early, put in the hours, then I'm going to do it, because to me, that's part of, the balance for me is doing a lot of things. I'm not super happy if I'm not doing something.
That's awesome. What about you?
So I have Susan that linked up our calendar. And I drink a lot of wine.
That's always a good one, right?
You know what? It's a great thing to have. But for me, what I had to do is I had to create balance, because I've always had multiple things going on. And I let everybody run me over. I never shut my doors. My store was never closed. And so for me, there's a certain time at night that I'm done. And I don't answer phones. And a lot of times I say I went to sleep. And if anybody's listening, I may or may not have been asleep. I was just drinking wine. And that's when I decide I'm done. When I have that glass of wine, I'm like, I'm done working. So and that's how I create balance.
So since you said wine 3 times, what is your go-to wine?
I love a Pinot Noir. And there is this French wine that I get at Total Wine.
What is it called?
I can't remember. I'll have to. I know the picture, and that's what I get. But it's
It
nice.
got grapes on it, right?
It's got French words on it, and
Right.
it's a white label, and it's one of their direct wines, so it's a really, really great price. I think it's like $11 or $12 a bottle. And
Awesome. My favorite.
yes, if
I
you're a
know.
Less
wino,
expensive, the
cheap
better.
and cheap and good.
well, actually, the more expensive wines have more yeast in them, and I don't do well with a lot of yeast. Just a little lesson on that. So
Awesome.
the cheaper wines are better.
They're better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So tell me, for the moms who are listening,
Mm-hmm.
give us a tip or so.
Balance.
How to maintain and balance everything.
Yeah, staying
start with you.
present. Let's stay present.
Mm-hmm.
Too often we have our brains going on, all over the place, and I have a busy mind. And so when my girls come in and they want to tell me a story, I literally have to stop and be present and not think about, okay, let's get through this. Let's just get to this time of the day. Let's get to that. And so I've learned to just literally stay present and breathe and be okay with it and to say, okay, I'm done. And this is my time with my family. Kind of consolidate,
Kind of balance life.
yeah, compartmentalize my days.
So is there a work-life balance? Is there such thing called work life?
No.
It's not really.
And I think also part of it is that you don't need to feel like you're perfect at everything you're doing. Like Jennifer said, the compartmentalizing and the being in the moment. When you're in the moment of that, be really good at what you're doing in that moment. But that doesn't mean that because you're really good at that moment, there's going to be suffering for the other areas of your life. There's no way you can truly, humanly, possibly be amazing at being a mom, at being a partner, at being a podcaster. You can't be perfect and 100% in all of those things. So you need to give yourself some grace
Yeah,
and
I've
be
tried.
okay being like a pretty good mom and that your heart is in it, and being a pretty good, co-host or in your business. But when you're doing those things, go 150% into it.
Susan and Jennifer, I got to tell you, I admire women. Women have a hard job, okay? And, talk about everything. And, I hope I don't say something that's stupid, because I do say some stupid shit sometimes.
We do too. It's okay.
So, like men have less pressure on them. Men wake up in the morning and they brush their teeth, take a shower, and maybe shave every 2-3 days or something like that. And then, that's done. A woman takes forever to get out of the house. And if you have kids, the fathers are not getting the kids ready. Guess who's getting the kids ready? It's the
Right.
moms.
Yep.
Okay. And we live in a society, we live in this world that we have. And me also as a man, if my wife listens to it, she'll be like, why don't you follow some of your own advice? But it's true, right? Men, we take it for granted, and we say, well, it's a woman's duty and it's a woman's job. There's a lot of good men out there who do share
Right.
their duties and split. So I'm not saying there's not good men out there. Majority of the men
Right.
just let women do it. So I admire women, and I admire both of y'all having 2 kids, and it takes time. It takes time to get ready for women. How long does it take for you, Jennifer?
Depends on if I've washed my hair or not.
Yeah, you'd be surprised how quickly we've gotten ready.
Yeah, it could be anywhere from 15 minutes to an hour.
Okay.
It
So
really-
let's say ballpark, 30 minutes,
yes.
Yeah.
30, 35 minutes. It doesn't take, well, it takes me an hour to get ready.
Truth be told now.
Truth be told.
That hair, I can tell.
No, the hair takes like 1 minute. But I don't know. I guess I get distracted too quickly.
That could be.
Yeah.
Could be. I
The
see my husband.
shower takes 8 to 10 minutes.
Right. You're enjoying your moment there.
Yeah, I am. There's a couple of places I really enjoy my moment. First thing when I go to the restroom in the morning,
Yes. Yes.
I think every man enjoys that.
Uh-huh.
I know a lot of y'all women are like, what takes 30 minutes?
Well, I'm just wondering why it's so often.
You know why is it so often, right? He's just trying to find peace.
I know that's
I
exactly
know.
what it is. Of course,
I
my
know.
kids have learned that too. You say, "Hey, go to the dishes," and apparently everybody's got to poop.
Yeah.
But yes, so I admire women. So they always, do their, women, even though we live in we live in a progressive world. It's about to be 2020. But, there's a lot of good women who basically make sure their home is done first.
Mm-hmm.
Though a lot of people in the other parts of the world will not realize it, will not understand it. Everywhere has a culture, but
Right.
women, it doesn't matter what part of the world are they from. They take care of their kids. They have this maternal instinct. So, which I really admire. And I admire both of you, being moms and, getting your shit done. I mean,
Yes.
this
Well,
thing,
and I
this
think-
is great.
We're making shit happen.
Making
That's
shit
right.
happen.
And I think it's okay to, say that you need help sometimes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Don't feel like you're having to take on everything all by yourself all the time. Like I said, Jennifer and I, we do the co-hosting together and our company together. And so we're fortunate enough to easily have access to someone who's going to be there for us. But,
Exactly.
I'm a single mom and have been for, 10 years. And so if I didn't have other moms in the neighborhood, today is an example of that where, I'm not there to get my daughter. So I have a neighbor that's going to pick her up from school. So I don't feel guilty for that because I know that I'm going to help out that mom another day. But I think that far too often that we feel like if we're not doing everything, then we're not doing it right. And it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to bring in, family and neighbors and really network and make sure that you ask for help when you need it.
So go ahead.
One of the things that, because you kind of touched on it a little bit, and something we talk about is that society, we are evolving as a society. So we literally went from women not being able to vote, not being able to have a job. We couldn't buy a car or a house on our own, to shifting. So we were only in the house. That was our only job. And then now that we're shifting, we haven't quite evolved our ideas about society. So women are taking on so much. And I think that some of it is we're trying to prove ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
We're trying to over-prove ourselves, where men already got it. It's like the big dog. Big dog doesn't care about the little dog because he's cool. He's like, I already know I'm big. And it's kind of what's happening here. So women are just putting on so much pressure to prove that we are good enough. And that's what the problem is. We just need to know we got it already. We're here.
I mean, I think so. Men know their role. I mean,
yeah.
sometimes we know it too much.
And ours is evolving.
Yes, all the time.
So let's talk about that. So you say men know their role.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think us men, I'm going to say us men because I'm me included, do you think we abuse that sometimes?
I wouldn't call it abuse. Of course, I won't go across the board because there's obviously going to be people who do abuse their quote unquote power. But when my husband and I got married, neither one of us really knew what this was supposed to look like. We both came from, single moms.
Mm-hmm.
And so we only went by what we saw on TV, which was probably Leave It to Beaver. And so in the very beginning, my husband was trying that 1950s kind of style of, well, this is woman's work and I do men's work.
Mm-hmm.
And I quickly told him this isn't the 1950s and I'm not that girl, but I'll try it for a little while, but it didn't work. And so he has evolved. Now, when I started to get equal with him in pay there for a little while, things started shifting. He started seeing me more as an equal partner and started pitching in more with the house duties. And so I think it's still evolving. You guys are evolving too a little bit, but it's with our evolution.
You touched something that I think about it, but I never say it. You said when you got equal in pay, things shifted.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of women, there's a lot of them, okay, that not only take their husbands as partners, they feel like their husband, I don't want to go on that because that can be another podcast. But a lot of time, women, treat their husband like their child. I mean, maybe I can say that.
Yes.
And but there's a lot of them. They get mad at their husband. They insult him and stuff like that. But at the same time, the husband, also reciprocate.
Right.
Sure. That's all learned.
That's
learned behavior.
I was about
That's
to say,
learned
you're
behavior.
teaching them that.
Yeah.
But do you think it's important for women to earn to the level of the husband?
I think that's a lot of men do think about. My husband, money is a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
If money's okay, we're all okay. If money's not okay, we're not okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think, though, if everybody could just look at each other and appreciate what they're doing, it's more of a big appreciation. So I think that because women are evolving, we're looking for atta girls from all over, making money, being a mom, being the wife, looking great, doing Pinterest, all this other crap. And so we're looking for more atta girls versus them saying, hey, you're a really great mom and that was enough. So I think it's like we're looking for more.
Yeah, you forgot keeping your house looking perfect.
Yeah, that went out with my
we've
second
given
child.
that up. We were talking about that Just the other day, we're like, yeah, this is our first kid. The house was spotless. Their toys were put away every night. Laundry was done. Now it's like, they're alive. It's kind of
Look, my house is picked up, and usually by 5 o'clock when my husband gets home, I've got dinner made, and I tell everybody, look busy.
Fake it till you make it.
Fake it till you make it. Tell me if you have entrepreneurial spirit. You said you've been an entrepreneur all your life. Give us some tips for some entrepreneurs who are listening to this show.
I think the biggest thing is to just do it. Jennifer and I talk about that on the show. You know, people have asked us about, you know, doing a podcast, doing what we do. And we say, you know, like Jennifer said, she didn't know what a podcast was. You know,
are y'all on Instagram?
Oh, yes.
You are?
Yes, at Find Her Seat. And then also Susan.Mobley and Jennifer Etter. So we utilize our social media both through Find Her Seat and through our personal pages. But I think that, you know, and that's part of it also is all the technology and all the social media is that there are so many things that you can do in this day and age that literally are a zero startup. You know, I look back when I did my real estate business and there was startup costs. You know, as you know, doing the furniture business, you have the brick and mortar costs that come with it, the, you know, the space and all of that. You can start a business today, you know, be it a podcast, be it through Instagram bloggers and social media, network marketing, whatever it might be, for zero to a little tiny startup cost.
Exactly.
But if you don't do it, then you're never going to know. And I say I would rather fail 50 times than to not at least try it. To me, the biggest failure is never trying to do anything.
So your tip is just do it.
Yes, do it scared, but do it. Like, don't feel like you have to understand everything. You know, if you see our first show versus this, you know, a show that we did today, we've improved. Absolutely. But had we been so scared to do that first show, we would never have learned from all of it.
We wouldn't be here on your show.
Exactly. So we've evolved and we've had opportunities to meet amazing people, be on other shows. And it's all because we didn't know what we were doing. We're flying by the seat of our pants, but we did it.
Yeah, that's one of my thing that I always talk about on Instagram or somewhere, you know, about doing it now.
Right.
You know, if you don't do it now, you know, don't leave it for tomorrow. Just do it now.
Right.
I mean, you can't be scared to fail. Yeah. Like I said, to me, the biggest failure someone can give to themselves and even their children and their spouse is to not try to do something. If you fail, you fail. But at least you tried and get up. Try something else, fail at something else. But if you keep trying things, you're going to hit something that really you're passionate about. And I think if you're passionate about something, oh my goodness, the success is going to come. I know with Jennifer and I with Find Our Seat, we're so passionate about it. And we love spotlighting these women doing amazing things that don't even realize how amazing they are. Right. But it's become such a passion of ours that it's, you know, evolving so quickly because we love it. So I think if you find something that you're passionate about, it's definitely, you won't fail at that. But keep trying until you find that passion.
So I'm going to ask you now, since you talked about Find Her Seat, you interviewed women. Tell me, like, you have interviewed now several, 9-10 months y'all been doing it?
Right.
So at least 40 people you have interviewed now.
Right.
Tell me one that sticks out to you that you say, you know what, this is the number one and number two. Give it to me.
I think for sure with Too Chic Accessories.
That's definitely one of them.
Yes. So they're some local Katy women who actually make these earrings. Uh-huh. But they outsource their jewelry to, less fortunate women in other countries who have no way to really earn an income.
And what was the name of their?
It's Too Chic Accessories.
Too Chic. T-O-O.
The number 2 and then Chic, C-H-I-C-S. I mean, C-H-I-C Accessories.
What do you think? Who would have made like a big impression on you?
They definitely did because they had no clue that what they were doing was they were empowering other women.
Besides Too Chic.
I'm terrible with names. So the one that wrote the book, that she literally had the song she was singing to her son who was dying.
Oh, yes.
Think of her name. I'll tell you her story. So basically she had a son who was dying. He had major reflux and this song came to her and she started singing this song to him. She basically sang I'm back to health. She wrote it in a children's book and it just exploded. It's going everywhere. It's just amazing. And I was touched by a lot of things that she said, but especially that she opened up and received that song.
She's from Houston?
No, she's in Austin.
Yes, in Austin.
Did she drive over here?
No, we did a split screen.
Oh, okay.
So we've had people in Nicaragua, Arizona, all different places where, that are able to split screen them in, so that they're still part of the live experience. But that we are able to have people across the entire world, which I think helps our viewership.
You're gonna have to teach me after the show how to split screen.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Carlos, you listening? Okay. I'm gonna have to get some of your intel on that 8-week course that you had.
Oh
Yeah.
yes, it was great.
Hey, I went from being a non-techie to literally glazing over and just taking really good notes for her. I edit.
So she can do it.
No, I edit
No,
it.
she
you
does.
edit
I
it.
am so proud of
Wow.
her. She
Yeah.
does all the editing of our RSS feed.
Wow.
So I'm proud that I passed
Yeah,
a
I
little bit
always-
of my
I always-
techie torch to
I
her.
always say, like, if it weren't for Susan, I'd still be like leaving notes on trees.
All right, Jennifer. Susan shared her tip, for entrepreneurs. Why don't you share some with me?
Okay, so first off, yes, I agree. Do it scared. If it scares you, you definitely need to go in that direction. But another thing is literally just telling yourself that you can and believing in yourself. Too often we get in our own heads and we're like, I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. Look, I don't have the education that Susan has, but yet I'm able to do this as well. And so if we get out of your own way and know that whatever you need is available to you and you are smart enough, you're brave enough and good enough.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that one too. I love Susan's because I always say it. I think Susan saw it on my Instagram the other day. So
Busted.
so right now you're with the Revolver
Yes. So
network. So congratulations on that again. And goal is to have your own network.
Yes.
Talk about that a little bit. When you say your own network, so you you do a network and then you put a lot of other podcasters around the country, around the world in that network. Is that what it is?
Yeah, we
Right.
want to be the table.
You want to be the table. So basically it's like you want to be, is it like, let me ask you a question. I'm sorry for being naive. Is
No.
it like iHeart, their network?
No. So it's more like a NBC might have, their shows with Seinfeld and Friends and that type
Gotcha.
of thing. So for us, like we joined with Revolver podcast. So Revolver's kind of like the NBC and then we're one of the shows that's
Gotcha.
under them. So we want to have a network where we're like Revolver and, maybe it's through spotlighting women's podcasts.
Whatever it is. So,
You know.
and then you want to be the table and then you want to have like people under you.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
their
Well,
seat.
your network marketing business comes in place.
That's
huh?
right.
You want to be on the top.
Yep.
And then you have people underneath
And have
you.
our team
I
there that
got
we're going to help them be rock
That's
stars.
right. That's right.
Ladies, I really appreciate you coming on the show. This has
pleasure.
been great. Okay, I know. I told you I'm going to try to keep it under an hour, and the time has come. But before we go, there's a couple of things I want you to share. Number one, where can people find you on social media? Instagram. Are you on Instagram,
Yes,
Facebook?
so we
Yes.
are everywhere. If you Google Find Her Seat, you'll find us.
Okay.
But at Instagram, it's Find Her Seat. Facebook is where you can find all of our lives at Find Her Seat, as well as YouTube is Find Her Seat, LinkedIn, Find Her Seat, Twitter, Find Her Seat. And then again, obviously, our podcast is anywhere that you listen to your podcast, be it iHeart, iTunes, Spotify. Like Jennifer said, Google us and we will pop up.
Yeah,
All right, Find Her Seat. So Find Her Seat on everywhere. LinkedIn,
Yes.
Instagram.
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
us.
Yes.
And now, do you have do y'all put everything on there, or do you have personal pages
So
also?
we have personal pages as well. So mine is Susan.Mobley
Okay.
for Instagram as well as on Facebook.
Mobley.
Mobley.
Okay.
And so on Facebook, I think we're both getting capped out at our friends, but you can absolutely follow us.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that we post on our personal pages is public. So hers is Jennifer Etter. It's like-
Jennifer Brown Etter.
Jennifer Brown Etter.
Yes.
Etter.
Yep.
Was Brown your maiden name?
Yes.
Mhm.
You haven't let go of that yet.
No. Well, I thought, I mean,
Is it hyphenated or not hyphenated?
No. That's only for Facebook.
Only for Facebook. Jennifer Brown
So I
Etter.
can
No
find
hyphen,
all
no
my old
nothing.
friends from elementary school.
Gotcha. What elementary school did you go to?
I went to Chancellor.
Okay, I went to Smith and I went to Ollie and then I
Oh,
went to Hastings.
I went to A-Leaf Middle.
Leaf Middle, right in front of right on High Star.
Yeah, and the big pencil in the,
The
front.
big pencil
in the front of
in front.
the yard.
I graduated in '96.
Oh, see,
It's 95.
yeah, you're younger than me.
Yeah, you graduated in '95.
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay, you graduated in '95.
95. Yeah, we're literally
I should have
5 days
graduated in
apart or
'95,
something.
I think, because I was born in '77.
We're born in 76.
76.
76. Okay. So yeah, well,
See?
1 year older than
There you go.
There you go.
Here's your upperclassman right here. in front of
Yes.
you.
Respect. Okay.
Respect your elders.
Yes. All right. Last thing. I'm going to ask one by one. You go first, Jennifer.
Okay.
No cheating, Susan.
Okay.
You picked up on her.
3 things you'll leave for a future generation. It can be your kids or to the world.
Okay. So, my children, the legacy of knowing that as a female, they are most powerful. I mean, I try to let them know, you throw like a girl or this, that, and the other. Look, we're the only ones that can literally create a whole nother being in our bodies.
Exactly.
So that, and knowing that you can do anything you want to do, as long as you set your mind to it. Literally, the sky's the limit. And don't let fear get in your way.
Don't let fear get in your way. Perfect. I love it. They're most powerful. They can create their own being, do anything they want to do, and don't let fear get in the way. Awesome.
I think for me that definitely I tend to look at the positive in a lot of situations. Some people on the outside may think that my life has been pretty darn amazing, and there's a lot of parts of it that have, but I've been through many things that not everybody always knows, partially because I try and pick out the positive that's going through something. So even if there's a downtime, I teach my children that, yes, this might be a difficult time, but look at all the amazing things that are coming from this difficult situation. There's so many times that you can learn from those. So I think definitely not looking at the world in a negative way, but looking at all the positive things that come from even negative moments. I think also, showing that I think a legacy of my children, that they become productive, amazing human beings and continue to be, good people. Not just, it's not just about an income you earn, but the kind of way that you treat everybody around you. So I hope that they go on to be as amazing as they are now as adults as well. And also I think just to show that, leaving behind that you can do anything, that there are no limits. It doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman, if you, have been disadvantaged, if you've had a rough life, if you've had a privileged life. Don't dwell on everything that you either did or didn't have. That I'm proof that you can take good things and bad things and make something amazing from all those situations.
Awesome. Here you have it, friends. You heard from Jennifer Etter and Susan Mobley. Great having you over here, ladies. Thank you so much for coming.
Thanks for taking the time.
Yeah, thanks for taking the
Thank
time from your busy
you.
schedule, getting your neighbor to pick up the kids, and getting your husband to do the husband duty. Thank you. So this was fun. This was absolutely,
Thank
I
you.
learned a lot.
We
Thank you so
appreciate
much.
it.
Thank you.